Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races, such as the Daytona 24, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR schedule, such as the Daytona 500. We have events from disciplines all across the racing world, from the Indianapolis 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events utilize iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against every driver taking part. And as every race progresses, watch and feel the track change with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iRacing.com/special-events.
We're here at Barcelona, Catalonia for Formula B Super Formula Series. This is some of the best, most competitive open-wheel racing to be found anywhere on iRacing, and this is SimSpeed TV live coverage of the official series Strength of Field race. This is the best drivers and the most points that are going to be on offer for the whole week. And we'll see who can battle and come out ahead with the championship points. David Haynes here with Jay Kennedy as we look forward to the drivers getting on track at Barcelona. This is a super high-speed, challenging Grand Prix course, famously used for a whole lot of testing and famously tough on tyres, can also be tough on drivers, but with that long front straight and some fast corners, it really shows the strengths of this Super Formula car. This is where we're at in our calendar for this season. We began at Spa, then the Nürburgring Grand Prix Strecke, Mexico City last week, now here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, with a Japanese swing, Fuji and Suzuka to come, Barber, Road America, Mugello, Monza, Portimao and Silverstone for this season. Great Grand Prix circuits, and Jay, this has been a great season.
Definitely has been a great season so far. It's been a very entertaining one. We've seen some breakaway winners, but the mid-pack battles have been absolutely fantastic, and the championship shows that the mid-pack has been nice and close so far. We've seen Timothy Friese-Larsen win 2 of the 3 races and Kevin Foster win the other, but we haven't seen the 2 of them battle each other as of yet. Fingers crossed we see that today. I don't know if we've got them both in the session. I'm just loading in now, so I'll have that information for everyone soon, but yeah, it's going to be a very, very entertaining one, no doubt, either way. But Friese-Larsen leading the way with perfect points in the races he's been here for. Kevin Foster perfect points in his races so far, but still very early days.
Yeah. I'm wondering right now about why there's 2 Lucas hands in this graphic,
Probably
Jay.
because I accidentally typed stuff wrong. Let's ignore that.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go to that
Well,
one.
in the iRacing points, Timothy Fries-Larsen leads Dan Jiang from Lawrence Brown, Benjamin David and Dejan Paunov. Rohan Sena in 6th from Lucas Hand, just the one of him, single-handedly in 7th. Ansis Law in 8th. Lewis Kanchan in 9th. And Elmeri Quismin in 10th. That one's a lot closer because it counts all of the official races every second hour throughout the whole week. Timothy Fries-Larsen has come out ahead in the strength of field races, and that's what this one will be, and therefore it will pay more points to that championship. This is Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, just outside of Barcelona, in Catalonia. It's all there on the tin, and it is a great circuit that has had just a couple of tweaks over its years, but remains mostly the same, particularly the long front straight, turns 1, 2, and 3, then tightening into that turn 4. Long corners put load and build up temperature in the tyres that can often cause them to wear. The places where change has happened, turn 9 got changed into just one corner very early in the history of this circuit. We are running the historic configuration, which means a wide turn 10 and no chicane in the final sector. That means you carry so much speed onto that front straight as well.
This seems to be the driver's choice of layout as well for this circuit. It seems to be much more popular with the drivers, and I think that goes for the real world and in the sim as well. Drivers seem to prefer this layout over the one with that chicane and also the tighter hairpin, so it also provides a little bit more exciting racing. The run down the front straight definitely brings a little bit more excitement as well. So good news as well, I can provide that we've got a bigger field today. We've got 21 cars. Both Kevin Foster and Timothy Fries-Larsen are both in the field today.
So it's going to be bumper and action-packed then, with the championship lead on the line. Qualifying underway. We often see Timothy Fries-Larsen wait until quite late in the session to go out there and set his lap times. You get 2 flying laps, and you can see that the current pole position time, 1:19. So you don't need all that much time to get out there and set a flying lap. Fries-Larsen's got at least 1 to his name there. It's got him in 3rd place, but he's going to need to find 0.8 of a second to displace Kevin Foster. Denis Morentsov also just fractionally ahead of Larsen at the moment. Kostek Solovic in 4th. Dennis Branch in 5th. There's Dan Jiang in 9th. JT Smeaton moves up to 2nd place. Larsen is going to need a big improvement in this lap if he's going to start on the front row of the grid. At the final corner he goes, minding the track limits, up into 6th gear, massive speed already. And he crosses the line, finds 0.4 of a second, moves up into 2nd place. But that is looking like a monumental qualifying time from Kevin Foster at the moment.
Lucas Hand crosses the line for 10th position, so everyone has now completed a lap. That means session is done, and we'll get into the race session a little early. Kevin Foster on pole.
Yeah, exciting. It's often tough with the overtake system to move forward from too deep on the grid because you end up using it and then you don't have it to defend later on. So starting up front is a very, very good idea in the Super Formula races, and that's where Kevin Foster will be, on pole position by almost half a second. Championship leader Timothy Fries-Larsen in 2nd. JT Smeaton, late improvement, put him in 3rd. Denis Morentsov in 4th. Kostek Solovic in 5th. And Dennis Branch Apologies. Going through the grid there, encountered a bit of a delay. Eugenio Stanislav in 13th, Sahila Olila in 14th, Robin Krenicki in 15th, Louis Kiffel in 16th, Gerhard Rötz in 17th, and Jakob Obruslak in 18th. And then our remaining three drivers are Brian Carey, Alejandro Moratti, and Mark Schlatsiak. And that is 21 Super Formulas on the grid at Barcelona, Catalonia. A standing start down towards turn 1. And we get underway. A lot of wheel spin, a lot of smoke in the air. And already a challenge up front, defending the inside line, goes the pole sitter. Friis Larsen looking to swoop around the outside to take the race lead. Battling side by side through the switchbacks of 1 and 2. We've already got a car off the track and into the wall. Mexico a week ago was incredibly bruising for that. Many drivers not finishing. We've already lost one at Barcelona. We've already had a change for the lead. Timothy Friis Larsen leading us in this opening lap. Overtake System is available, but you've got to be careful how you use it.
Yeah, that was Lucas Hand that we saw around early on there. So Lucas Hand already a casualty in this race very, very early on. But everyone else has made it through A-OK, and it does look like Lucas Hand is actually continuing on, which is a positive. So we have got everyone continuing despite that early incident for Lucas Hand. Apologies for the issue we just saw with the stream as well. It unfortunately just had a little glitch with the broadcast software. It decided to crash, but we're back running.
Just like that, it's almost one lap completed. So much speed here at Barcelona. And Overtake System will give you even more. They start with 200 seconds of it, and it gives them extra horsepower. There's a snap in the gravel. And it looks like Noddy ML is in a compromised position. Dan Jiang's going to have to look to the outside at turn 1. They're battling side by side in front of that as well. Jiang trying to hold around the outside of 1 for the inside of 2. And there's some gravel there. And off the racing line was a bit slippery for ML, and he drops back a spot. Jiang up into 7th. Lorentzov and Branch were battling for 5th and 6th. Timothy Friis Larsen using a little bit of Overtake System on the opening lap. Gets 1 second clear of JT Smeaton as Kevin Foster drops back to 3rd. Amel now trying to fend off Kostek Solovic, who swaps to the inside. There's almost a little bit of contact there. Surely must have been a bit of contact. Going into turn 5, they remain side by side, heading down the hill into this chicane. The inside line wins. No, they both lose.
Wow, it's unfortunate there for both of them. I will get away with it, but Kostek Solovic does have a bit of damage, and he has picked up a mechanical meatball flag, mechanical black flag, so he will be potentially race done by the looks of things. Yeah, he's out of the race, unfortunately. So day done for him. Also see Obruslak around at the hairpin, so he's had an issue there. Yes, Borenslav has picked on the Overtake System very, very early, so he has decided, oh, that's huge damage.
Jolha Olila, that car is in pieces. Bodywork everywhere. One of the wheels is off. That's going nowhere. So in the final corner, he's exited stage right. We look at a replay of the race start from Lucas Hand. There's 3 wide. It's 1 into 2 into 3. And that spins him around out into the gravel, immediately into reverse gear, and gets it back on the road. And Kevin Foster losing out the race lead in that opening lap. Timothy Friis Larsen looking for a 1 second lead over JT Smeaton that he doesn't quite have. Now this is going to be the finish driver. Rear goes early and it slides. Geez, that's more than we expected we were going to see of a Super Formula car today.
Very heavy impact on the wall, and yeah, huge damage to that car. So unfortunate way for that race to end. And then there were 19, but still a lot of cars out there to potentially race on. Cars have used a bit of their Overtake System very early on as well, so interesting to see. But Kevin Foster, he'll be looking to try and get his positions back. Remember, started in 1st, but already back into 3rd on the Overtake System to potentially get this position back. Gain some ground back, already 2 seconds behind.
Yeah, definitely working to try to keep the slipstream behind JT Smeaton. He was just a second behind. And in using the overtake system, he's closed back to about 8/10 behind. But an arrow wash through turn 3, maybe. As all of that happens, JT Smeaton beginning to drop a little bit away from Timothy Friis-Larsen. With so much speed on the front straight, if you can stay within a second, the slipstream will really help you. But if you go beyond the gravitational field at about a second, then you no longer have that advantage. Worth using a little bit of the overtake system just to get back within that window. For 11th place, Louis Kiefel is trying to keep behind Mohamed Amin Rezgui. And they are just behind Robin Krenneke for that top 10. Gravel across the road in multiple places. So we had it in turn 2. We got it at turn 8 there. I think we managed to avoid dragging any gravel back onto the road at the penultimate corner. But just a little bit of evidence out there of extracurricular activities from our drivers. And a tiny bit more there from Krenneke as he runs wide at the hairpin.
A little bit of a moment for him, and bringing gravel on the circuit. I think that gravel we saw down at turn 6 was from that moment we saw with Beck and Noddy Amal a few laps ago. A few guys on the overtake down the straight here.
Works out well for Louis Kiefel as he gets 10th place. Looks like he's just going to try to stay ahead of Krenneke, who dives turn 1, pushes a little bit wide. Kiefel's now going to try to look for the outside of turn 3 or a switchback that's not coming. So from 10th down to 12th place, ends up out in the marbles.
Interesting that Krenneke got that move done without using the overtake system down the straight too. So that was a very, very good overtake for him. He didn't need to use the overtake system to make that move work.
So they'll continue to chop and change and swap positions back and forth here, battling for 10th position. Kiefel had 10th kind of locked down there. Now he's back to 11th, facing some pressure for 12th position here. Lawrence Brown in 4th, also facing some pressure from Denis Morentsov. Top 3 starting to get away a little bit. Brown will be very well aware of the slipstream that he's creating at that final corner, almost already doing 250 k's an hour, and then full throttle and maybe overtake system down the front straight.
Overtake system for Krenneke this time, as he's ahead of those guys that he was battling with before, and the other two actually also all on the overtake system. So all 3 using the overtake system in this group now. And up inside goes Kiefel, makes the move.
Well, we've had the gravel, it starts to clear. Now I think we're starting to get more marbles off the racing line, making it a little bit more challenging to go side by side. That's the weather. A little bit of breeze about, but overcast. Watch for some of those sausage curbs as well that police the track limits in that chicane and don't let you cut the exit. Smeaton's under a lot of pressure from Kevin Foster, who's now back within 1 car length. His battle for 2nd and 3rd position. As that happens, I think Friis-Larsen just lost a 10th or so.
Foster's fastest car on track at this present stage. Krenneke's around the exit of the hairpin, so see if we can find out exactly what's happened to him there. But here comes Kevin Foster to make the move. Move done.
Foster got on the overtake system, and it did exactly what that said on the label as well. Down the front straight, extra speed, extra power, up into 2nd position. 1.3 seconds behind the leader. He's also had a tickle of the overtake system. There are races where we've seen him take 200 seconds of overtake system all the way to the final couple of laps, and that's just the rear letting go of braking and turning.
And then he had to wait for the entire field to go past, so he's now back to 18.
So Foster had incredible pace in qualifying. With a little bit of clean air, can he do the same again to try to close the gap to the race leader? He's gotten past JT Smeaton, who's then faded a little bit, but still holding on to all 200 seconds of his overtake system. Bruce Larson, I was saying, has sometimes done what Smeaton's doing at the moment, but not in this race. Had to use a little bit on the opening lap. Had to use a little bit to try to keep that 1 second gap since. Now JT Smeaton will activate his overtake system, trying to stay with Kevin Foster. Almost touches a little bit of the grass, going down the front straight. Our first 3, and then a little bit of space, and then a great battle for 4th place here with Denis Morentsov trying to hunt down Lawrence Brown. Dennis Branch and Dan Jiang not too far behind either. So you do need to be very tactical with your overtake system at this stage of the race.
100%. You need to make sure that you understand the battles around you, understand the fight that you're in. See which fighter's got close again. Look at this one.
Yeah, for the 10th position, Kiffel and Resgui. Quite a number of F1-inspired liveries throughout the field, and Kiffel's got the latest Red Bull scheme, which means every time he goes down the front straight, I expect to see that rear wing, flip up 180 degrees, but it doesn't on a Super Formula car.
See the Ferrari livery out there too. I expect to see a big letterbox opening. Doesn't happen.
I don't fully understand why everyone's using the term Macarena for that, because I don't remember doing that move in the Macarena, just putting my hands on my hips, shimmying and jumping 90 degrees clockwise. So that's not what the rear wing does. Kiffel is under a lot of pressure right here. Again, you carry so much speed onto the front straight and then onto the overtake system for Kiffel, because he's weaving one side and to the other, trying to keep that 10th position. He does by the time they get down towards turn 1, and both drivers need to brake. But again, different lines through 1, 2 and 3, trying to find a little bit of clean air for the wing maybe for Resgui. But then eventually the lines have to cross somewhere and he drops back a couple of car lengths. Oberslack, Ruetz and Noddy Emel. So a couple of great battle packs right here. You've got your top 3, you've got sort of 4th, 5th, 6th. We were seeing 10th and 11th. Back here at 14th, 15th, 16th, etc. A couple of quick drivers also looking to come back through the field. That's a little bit of the case for Emel.
Close too.
That hairpin there, I feel like Larson lost a bit of time there on a previous lap, and it may appear to have happened again on this lap, that Larson's lost a little bit of time. Kevin Foster's within the slipstreaming range down the front straight, and it's a game of chicken for who's going to press the overtake system, I feel.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think the draft is just enough for Foster to just maintain the gap and manage it for now. There's still plenty of laps left. I don't think he wants to make the move too early. I think he's satisfied to sit there for a few laps. They've got a big enough break now to Smeaton behind that they can just work together to pull the gap and fight for the last 5 or 6 laps. And we can see who will win out this battle. But yeah, this is going to be exciting to watch later on in the race as that got very, very close. Remember, these two are very, very good friends. They do chat after each and every race for about 45 minutes, just talking car setup and strategy and all those sort of things. They sit around after they do their post-race interviews in this Discord, chatting away about all different things about the car and the race, and they chat longer about the race than the actual race itself.
Looks like the rear's moving around a little bit for Larson. It got a little bit tail out in the chicane, and we've seen a few drivers struggling with sort of the weight transfer and the aero grip coming off going into that hairpin there. So maybe as we go on, a little bit of tyre temperature building up, particularly on the left rear tyre. Out of the final corner, 3/10 back is perfect slipstreaming range, and Foster's just going to follow him one way, follow him the other. Getting a little bit of momentum by the time they get down towards turn 1, but still a car length or so back. Just moving around in the mirrors of the race leader, making him work. And just sitting here for a lap or so, they pull away from JT Smeaton, because if he immediately goes onto the attack, then it brings some of the other cars back into play. Whereas you can exercise a little bit of patience here from second place. Larson, I thought the car was moving around on turn 4 there as well. Here's Emel down the inside on Slatchak. Here's Gerhard Rotes with not enough momentum down the inside of Brian Carey. This is such a great racing track for these cars because we've got these battles everywhere from the head of the fields all the way down to 17th, 18th.
Interesting, these two are starting to slow each other up a little bit. Last lap they did pull a little margin on Smeaton, but on this lap, as they've been going along around the outside, if you don't mind, Kevin Foster.
Kevin Foster's just got grip that Timothy Fries-Larsen doesn't seem to have. 3 corners round the outside. Both of them hit the overtake system onto the front straight. They're going to be side by side with extra horsepower deploying. JT Smeaton looks on. He's closed as they've gone side by side. Larsen round the outside of 1. Rear slides there. Change of direction in 2. Catches him a little bit. And Kevin Foster has got a lot of work to do if he's going to get past Timothy Fries-Larsen, including a switch from the inside to the outside of 3. Round the outside of turn 4, he gets wide, marbles, there's dust out there, but then he gets some good traction to give him the inside down the hill here in this long hairpin. As they remain side by side, JT Smeaton gets within 1 second. Looks like Kevin Foster just has the lead and then diving into the corner. Pushing him out wide, they touch. JT Smeaton comes through for the race lead like you thought could happen. Kevin Foster and Timothy Fries-Larsen contact at the chicane. JT Smeaton leads. My word.
Wowee. What an interesting battle that was. And yeah, as you said, Smeaton just comes through, cleans up the pieces of the mess that they left behind. While that was going on, Nadia Mal's had a massive moment. Has smashed into the wall. He has continued on, but we're going to replay that in a moment. I think Foster looks a little bit flustered at the moment because now he's just hit the sausage curb. Now he's just run off into the gravel, which is where Nadia Mal has come back onto the circuit. Watch this for Amal.
Oh, yep. Sausage curb on the way in. No grip. Loops it around. And it's massive gravel traps here.
And you saw how easily that happened. And at the same time, you saw Kevin Foster do the exact same thing, bounce the car over the curb. Could have quite easily done the exact same thing. I've just seen Mohamed Rezgoui. I'm having a great job trying to say that. He's just picked up an iRacing issued black flag for some reason.
Couple of possibilities for that. It's either incident limit or it's cutting the track somewhere and not serving the slowdown. Could happen at the penultimate corner. Sometimes drivers cut too much of that, get a slowdown that is then very difficult to serve, and a couple of other cars on pit lane 2. Louis Kiffel is there. You're not meant to make a pit stop in these races, but if you've got damage, then you do. This is Smeaton. Foster trying to come back for the race lead. And Kiffel on pit exit just ahead of them as well. Lap traffic as the leaders battle down into 1. Kiffel knows exactly what's going on and did that perfectly. That's good sportsmanship. As Kevin Foster takes this race lead back, Fries-Larsen hasn't quite looked the same since the contact, and we've seen occasions of drivers picking up damage that's not visible but just costs a little bit of downforce.
Interesting that Fries-Larsen has not had the pace since that little bit of contact between Foster and himself. So I'm wondering if there's a tiny, tiny little bit of damage to Fries-Larsen's car since that incident. So if we can look up if there is any damage, and also seen that Nadia Mal has decided to retire the car. He continued on for a couple of corners more after he had that incident. Decided to pull the car over, and that was the end of his race.
It's a great battling for the lead. It's changed a couple of times now. JT Smeaton had his moment in the sunshine. Kevin Foster and Timothy Fries-Larsen colliding, battling for the race lead. Both are continued, but it did look like a pretty heavy hit that may be hurting Larsen just a little bit. Kevin Foster, new fastest lap of the race, so I don't think his car's suffering too much damage. Bit of
strike.
Yeah, a bit more cloud cover comes across as well. That probably helps the lap times.
sticks out that things aren't right. He's just done a lap that's within 2.5 tenths of his personal best, so things might be okay for Freeze Larson. Maybe he's just trying to get his rhythm back after that incident. Sometimes that can just stall your confidence. As Jacob Oberslack almost in the back of Alejandro Muriarty.
Battling for the top 10 again.
I say one thing that is very cool is how international this field is today. An incredibly international field.
I think we pointed it out in previous rounds, drivers from all over the world that are fans of the Super Formula car and the way it races. They know that this is the time slot and this is the series for it. But today, I'm with you. It feels even more international with, Rezgui, Muriarty, Miguel Fechado, so many drivers from all over the world. If they want to race the Super Formula at the highest level, this is the time slot that pays the most points. And also our SimSpeed Championship currently being led by Timothy Freeze Larson, but with Kevin Foster really taking it to him today. It could be an exciting championship the whole way through. Lawrence Brown, Denis Marentsov, and Dennis Branch, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Dennis with 1 N and Dennis with 2.
Which one's correct?
Whatever your mum and named you.
Good answer. Very good answer.
Interestingly, both American, so maybe there is something to do with that. Another F1 inspired livery as well for Marentsov with the McLaren. He's right behind Brown. He seems to have checked up pretty heavily through those two sectors. Now, I don't see when the drivers have a slowdown penalty, but is there one that can be had from running wide at turn 9?
Potentially. I was also going to say that there was a heap of gravel on the circuit, the hairpin as well. That was from Lucas Hand, who ran extremely wide as Marentsov through and then chops the nose of Lawrence Brown and almost made contact, but they get away with it.
Marentsov used the Overtake System, which means that Brown will have it the next lap. That's sort of the yin and yang of the Overtake System and its cooldown, where after you use it, there's then an amount of time before you can use it again. And for most of the circuits we go to, the cooldown is longer than a lap time. So if you use it down the front straight one lap, you can't do it the next. That's where the game of chicken I described kind of comes from, because if they do press the button and you don't, then you know it's roles reversed next time, wherever the greatest overtaking opportunity is around the circuit.
Exactly right. It does make for an interesting strategy game, doesn't it? We've seen throughout the season and the previous, there's that gravel there. It does play a very interesting strategic mind game between drivers in a battle, especially in a battle pack of 3 or more cars. Just when you use the button or that overtake system, how you deploy it, how long you deploy it for, whether you can get an extra lap out of it. It's very, very interesting how it's used. You can see the guys that were using it already have already gone off the button. Whereas Brown used it for about 2 seconds in that straight there and decided to get off it because nobody else in the group was on the button.
Yeah, when you use it and how much of it you use. 2 things to balance there. Dan Jiang's not that far behind these guys either, but he's one of the drivers who's used the most Overtake System. And then Opera Slack still trying to hold on to 10th place from Alejandro Murati. Ryan Carey just behind them in 12th place. This has been a good circuit for Super Formula. Not quite as punishing as Mexico was last week. And the weather less confusing. Murati, look at that massive slide. Rear tyres are wearing and overheating for these drivers for sure, because there was no anything other than just leaning on it a little bit too much through the corner, and it said no, enough.
interesting how much the tyres are struggling in the rear. They're being very, very punished. And one thing to note about that is that the track conditions aren't very hot. It's not an overly hot day weather-wise on track as Branch through on Brown now. So he probably ruining that he used that overtake system on that previous lap for those couple of seconds because he could not defend with the overtake system that lap. However, he will have it next lap, and the two cars in front of him will not have it available.
8 laps to go, so the drivers begin counting backwards when to use their overtake system. You use it on the final lap, and then you don't have to suffer the cooldown because it is the cooldown lap. So very often they'll get to a point on the penultimate lap where they'll push the button and leave it pushed all the way to the checkered flag. Kevin Foster dealing with a tiny bit of lap traffic there, so he's probably not going to break the fastest lap of the race this lap. You can see the extent to which he is leaving JT Smeaton behind, and by extension, Timothy Larson as well. So it's a gigantic lead that Kevin Foster now enjoys with 7 laps to go. He's been putting seconds per lap for the last couple of laps on these two drivers.
Yeah, it's a big margin that he's pulled. It's now out to 8.1 seconds. So he's really extended the margin. Dan Jiang's the one on the move. He's one of the fastest drivers on track at the moment as well. So take out the front 3. Dan Jiang's the one to watch in the next group. As this group for 4th splinters a little. Dan Jiang now closing in on Lawrence Brown. But as you said before, he's used a lot of overtake system in comparison to everyone else. And they've got 103 seconds remaining. Saying that, that's still over half your system.
You start with 200 seconds, and they all use it in sort of 5 or 10 second bursts, predominantly on the front stretch. Then you can leave it on for a whole lap. It doesn't disengage when you lift off the throttle, so you can stay in the overtake mode going through a corner, and it counts to the time, but then you have all that horsepower when you put your foot down on the exit of the next corner, and then the next, and then the next. The fastest lap of the race for Kevin Foster. Lawrence Brown in 6th. Dan Jiang closing him a little bit for this spot, particularly on, say, lap 19.
Didn't quite gain as much time on that previous lap. These two are closing up again as well. Last lap by about 2.5 tenths quicker was Dennis Branch.
Is Morentsov catching Larson here as well? The pace drop-off from 2nd and 3rd over the last couple of laps has caught me by surprise. Smeaton and Larson? No, okay. Pretty similar gap remaining.
Pace. Not gaining, but they're not pulling away like they once were. They were lapping half a second, 3/4 of a second faster, but now that gap is just maintaining. Fries Larson doesn't have anything to come back at Smeaton like he once did as well, so I think Fries Larson's just not had the same pace as he did prior to that little bit of contact with Kevin Foster, which was very uncharacteristic.
Overtake System gets a push in this battle, 4th and 5th from Dennis Branch there in 5th, but only a tiny little bit of it. The roll hoop gives you some information about what's going on. So a fast flash, it's active; slow flash, it's cooldown, and then it becomes red when there's not much left. It's actually a very good system because as viewers, we get an idea of what's happening. But as the driver ahead, you're Morentsov, you're going down the front straight, you can look in the mirror and know what Dennis Branch is doing with his button. And that gives you the chance to either defend or not defend if you think it's a futile cause, or to push the overtake system yourself if you're looking to keep your track position. So that's why it's those LEDs on the roll hoop, because then the driver in front can tell.
still is a battle going on back in the field as well. They have thinned out a little, but there's still a couple going on.
Yeah, much like Jack and Robin Krennicki, 13th and 14th here. They're not too far behind. Alejandro Moratti just in front of them there. So almost everyone's had someone to battle at some point, whatever their pace may be. It looks like Slatchak had a slow exit from 9. Krennicki comes around the outside of 10, finds the marbles in the dust and straightens the car up to keep his nose in for the inside of the next corner where he dives in there. So we go side by side through 2 corners. And it looks like Krennicki just gets that spot. Slatchak was wide a couple of corners ago. Now under pressure. Overtake System as well from Krennicki. He pushed that quite early. Now he carries it the full length of the straight. Moratti in front also is using it down towards turn 1.
I think that came from the bounce off the sausage curb at turn 8, didn't it? So it was bouncing over that curb very, very early, and it started all sorts of dramas for him, and it was the end of the run for him, unfortunately. Kevin Foster goes faster again. He's the only driver into below the 1 minute 20 bracket. And he's doing mid 118s. No one else has even done a 119 in this race.
That might deserve some investigation. Looks like Brown and Jiang battling side by side onto the front straight. It's all about the horsepower. Both of them overtake system enabled. Jiang's been using a little bit more than some of the others, and he'll continue to use more on the way into turn 1. Bounces the curb in 2, might just park the inside of 3 here. He's up in a 6th place. There might have been some contact there for Brown. We see the front wing drop off, and yeah, it's still gone. Wow.
Oberslack also may have had some issues as well between he and Brian Carey. So we'll do some investigating on both of those there. But yeah, Lawrence Brown is definitely having some issues because that front wing has been shuffled off the front of his car.
Rensol facing some pressure from Branch. Uncharacteristic race from Larson as he's used an incredible amount of his overtake system so early. Here's the contact. Yeah, it's there. Just a little bit. Brown wanted to go around the outside of turn 3. Jiang kind of came back for the wider entry, and the two of them made a little bit of contact. Now, as we cross onto 2 laps to go, becomes about the time you can press your overtake system and just leave it open. Denis Morentsov hasn't done that, but Dennis Branch has. Denis Morentsov, I don't know, maybe needs to press the reset on his router. We seem to have lost him. Kevin Foster also activated the overtake system, and it's going to remain on all the way to the final lap. We might see that fastest. We're definitely going to see that fastest lap of the race tumble, but by how far, it's tough to tell. You know, it looked so equal between Foster, Smeaton, and Larson until about 10 laps to go. And then Foster has just blown them away more than a second a lap, lap after lap. It's ridiculous. So out of the final corner, with that overtake system active almost the whole way around, so much extra power. If it's clean,
17.
It'll be a new fastest lap of the race, and it will be.
It's not going to register as an official fastest lap, but look at this time.
So Kevin Foster, with the overtake system still active, begins a victory lap of Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. It's been an odd race for him. You know, he started on pole, he got beaten on the run down towards turn 1, and then he had to fight back for that lead, but the pace he has been insane. Lawrence Brown, with that front wing missing, now has suspension damage on the rear, and he's only going to come around to take the white flag, so this is going to be a limp to for another whole lap, it would seem.
Timothy Freeze Larson is out of overtake system. He has completely burnt all of his system.
Is his car crabbing too?
Potentially. Potentially it is.
I think it is, you know.
Yeah.
I think the rear is to the left a little.
Might be something to ask him when he comes in for a chat in a couple of minutes, but Kevin Foster in another world based on this pace tonight. What a run.
He's going to get the full complement of points and an astounding victory at Barcelona, Catalonia for Kevin Foster. Contacts with Larson at one point in the race, but no dramas for Kevin Foster as he came back to the head of the field, sets a new fastest lap of the race. Also had that speed in qualifying for pole position. JT Smeaton gets second. Larson, the championship leader, only gets third today, and no bonus points for that pole position. Top three in qualifying get 3, 2, 1 points. Chang in 6th, Stanislav in 7th. Not sure where Brown will limp around to because he's lost spots to all of these drivers. Yeah, unfortunately, there goes 13th and 14th place, and here goes a couple more. That is a very wounded car.
And he's just picked up a black flag as well, so he's going to get a 40-second penalty on top of his time when he finishes as well, so it's not going to...
But he's using his overtake system.
Yeah,
so he's not going to carry any overtake system to the end.
I'm sure that's really going to help.
Well, that's a determined Lawrence Brown, but not a pretty sight. Looks like he's on an ice skating rink. Ridiculous. Let's get the results for Super Formula from Circuit Barcelona, Catalonia by 18 seconds. Wiping the floor with them. Kevin Foster, what a race. JT Smeaton saw first and second collide in front of him. He went through to try to pick up the pieces, couldn't hold on to that race lead forever, but he gets second place. Timothy Fries Larson, third place, and perhaps carrying some damage towards the end. Already looked like he was struggling with the tyres before that. Denis Morentsov holds on to fourth place from Dennis Branch. It's the weight reduction of getting rid of one of those letter N's. Dan Jiang moved up into sixth. Jonio Stanislav in 7th, Miguel Fechado in 8th, Brian Carey 9th in the top 10, completed by Jakub Obroslak. Alejandro Muratti going into 11th place from Robin Krenicki and Mark Schlaciak. Gerhard Rutz in 14th, and Lawrence Brown limping around and getting extra time added post-race as well. 15th place, a minute 59 behind the leader at a circuit where the fastest lap of the race was in the minute 17s. He's almost finished a lap and a half back, but still on the lead lap. 1 lap down was Lucas Hand and Mohamed Amin Rezgui. Retirements, Louis Kiffel, Nodi Amel, Vesahila Olila, and one more car. Kostek Solovic gets a page all to himself, but not the one he would want. 21st place, completing just 2 laps in the race. Expect some of our drivers to come chat, and it looks like our whole podium will come find us. So we'll go to 3rd place, and the championship leader, Timothy Fries Larson, joins us. Well, that was action-packed.
Yeah, that's it sure was. I mean, I'm still surprised by like that move I managed to pull off at the start of the race. I'm gonna remember that one for a long time. But yeah, from there on out, it was just trying everything I could to keep Kevin as far back as possible. Like, I was trying to give JT a bit of slipstream to like keep him in the fight, but yeah, it was kind of inevitable that Kevin would get past. And from then, it was just a matter of time before he caught up to me. And yeah, no matter how hard you try to defend, like there's only so much you can do when the pace deficit is that big. And yeah, my setup just wasn't good enough this week. So yeah, I knew going into this that I was missing over a second a lap, and yeah, I did everything I could to keep him back.
So at the end, was there any damage on your car, or were you losing the tires, or did he just not show his full hand until that back half of the race?
Yeah, no, at the end there, or really after we almost well, almost took each other out. I think my tires were just completely dead. Like, I don't know if iRacing had punctures like in the sim, they would be punctured by then. That's how bad they were. So yeah, I don't think there was any damage. It was just the tires that gave up from there on out.
Well, it was super exciting. Well done. Look forward to seeing you next week. And who'd you like to thank?
I mean, first of all, I'm glad to give a big congrats to Kevin for destroying everyone this week. Like, he's been well over a second, as I said, clear of everyone in the world this week. So yeah, big kudos to him and well done on his win. Yeah, I'm glad to say a big thanks to everyone from my family and all my friends who may be watching, and of course the team Scorpio Esports for always supporting me.
Timothy Fries Larson, third place. Joining us in second was JT Smeaton. Well done. They collide in front of you, and you come through to pick up as much as you could.
Yeah, it was a good race on my part. I've been lacking quite a bit of pace this week, so I knew that my fight was really just to keep P3 there. But yeah, P2, happy with it. But yeah, I think Kevin and Timothy are just way quicker this week. So good race by Kevin as well. He had some monster pace there. But yeah, it was just from the start, it was just about managing the race, picking my battles. I managed to get ahead of Kevin at the start. I made a little bit of contact with him in turn 2, which was on me. A little bit of understeer on lap 1. But yeah, I mean, at that point when they were coming by, when he was coming by, I knew that just had to let him by because I knew that he would probably catch up with Timothy and hopefully that I could salvage something out of it. So yeah, pretty happy with the result.
Most drivers tend to favour this historic configuration of Barcelona. Were there any places where the track limits or slowdowns were of any concern to you?
Honestly, I haven't struggled that much with the off tracks. I mean, I did get quite a few in that race, but the exit of I think it's turn 9, that off track is um, pretty sketchy. There's some cones there as well. I'm not sure if some of the drivers might have hit that, but the cones on the exit there can damage your front wing. So it's just pushing to the limit to try to get on the edge of that off track, but also avoid the cone on the exit.
Interesting. So a few things that were kind of tough to explain around pace drop off or potential slowdowns out there, and interesting to hear that perspective. Well done on the second place, a good points haul too, and we'll see you next time. Anyone you'd like to thank?
Thank you guys, appreciate it. Yeah, big shout out first of all to my family for the support, and a big shout out to my team next to esports as well for their support as well. So yeah, I couldn't have done it without them.
And our race winner, Kevin Foster, joins us. Ludicrous race from you there. That second half, you just left them for dust.
I suppose so. It was kind of a strategy, I suppose, of mine to just kind of protect the tires. I had done some practice sessions before, and the tire deg around Barcelona is really high. So really making sure you're protecting that front left pays dividends big time come the end of the race, and just the pace in that second half of the race.
Your fastest lap of the race in the 17s doesn't count because of track limits, but you still created margins that we so rarely see between the top drivers in this super formula.
I think I have to give it to Mass for making an absolutely rapid setup, and for once it actually suited my driving style. I find myself having to tweak my braking shape or some of the approaches into some of the corners when I'm running to Mass's setup. But you know, he's extracting the most out of the car, and it's you that has to change, not the car. And for once, what the car needed was how I feel used to driving, and it all kind of came together with a car that felt really, really under me, and I could just place it wherever I wanted, lap after lap.
This is the first time this season we've seen you and Larson go head to head. You've been sort of ships passing in the night for some of the earlier rounds, and it was like, okay, well, if they actually met, who's on top? And here at Barcelona, it's you. That must be pretty promising.
It's fantastic actually to race to race Timothy. He's wicked fast, and I'm sure he's gonna find that gap no problem in the next round. I'm never gonna discount him. But yeah, actually having a battle is exhilarating, and it really does kind of make me have to go into the recesses of my mind and remember how to duke it out. And I take kind of responsibility for almost taking myself out. The move by Tim, according to F1 rules, is legal. You know, it feels bad, but you know, you're on the outside. The guys ahead at the apex, I should have backed out, but you know, having not gone wheel to wheel in so long, those moves aren't instinctual. So for next time, I'll be more on edge and practice a few racecraft tips.
Well, these cars go to their natural environment with Fuji and Suzuka in the next 2 weeks. Are you looking forward to that? Are those races that we're going to see you in?
Fuji, not so much, to be completely honest. I think Tim beat me there the last time we both raced at Fuji, and Suzuka most definitely. That's going to be one of my all-time favorite tracks, if not my favorite track. So yeah, it's great to see the addition of Fuji this season. I think we should definitely run more of the Japanese tracks. Like, I would love to see these cars run around Motegi, even Okayama, for as Mickey Mouse as it is and tight, just for variation on the calendar, and paying homage to the actual Super Formula series and the calendar that they drive.
Well, a simply spectacular round from you, the maximum 23 points. Well done. Epic racing. And who do you need to thank?
Yeah, no, thank you guys first and foremost for coming out every week, putting on a spectacular broadcast and keeping it exciting and engaging for everybody out there. I'm sure as we keep doing these broadcasts, we're only going to get more and more entries, more and more eyes, and it's been phenomenal to see the waves that it's been making behind the scenes in both the iRacing community, the Sim Racing Nation community, and here over at SimSpeed. I want to thank my friends and family, especially my girlfriend too. She's supporting me from all the way in Dubai, tuning in, and it's fantastic when you have a support circle like that. And I have to tip my hat to Tomas once again for making a rocket ship of a setup. I would highly recommend if people are out there that are unsatisfied or are looking for that little extra 1 or 2 tenths, the setup shop that Tomas runs and engagement that he has with the community is phenomenal.
Spectacular. Look forward to seeing you racing again, and well done.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.
And next week, we are in the shadow of Fuji Speedway. Really looking forward to that one next week here for SimSpeed TV's broadcast slot of Super Formula. And we've got to thank everyone who makes this broadcast possible, just like our drivers. It's Get Good Racing, Tamash Setups, 3R Simworks, James Byrne Coaching, Lap Labs, Full Push Sim Gear, Canada's ultimate destination for elite gear. From precision pedals to professional turnkey rigs, we fuel your obsession. Pure performance, expert support, push harder, drive faster. Sim Racing Nation, the community for sim racing enthusiasts and motorsport professionals from around the world. They focus on fostering competitive racing and an environment for drivers of all skill levels. Rookie Racing, ready to hit the track? Rookie Racing is your spot to discover motorsports. We make it easy for new racers to get behind the wheel, so stop dreaming and start driving. Book your experience or full season at rookieracing.ca, located in the Greater Toronto area. And with that, we look forward to seeing you the same time next week when these Japanese Super Formula cars are in their natural environment, Fuji Speedway and then Suzuka the week after. It's simply perfection when the two come together. I've been David Haynes with Jay Kennedy here on SimSpeed TV as Kevin Foster takes a points sweep of Circuit Barcelona Catalunya, and we say see you in Fuji.